Let's jump to this first story right here.
Yeah, we got Serge. He's not on the mic. He's not on the camera, so I got
no camera, guys.
Distance.
All right, let's jump to this first story. We got this from the Daily Mail. Bud Light's VP says she wanted to update the fratty and out-of-touch branding with inclusivity days before Dylan Mulvaney's controversial partnership with beer was unveiled. And I'm gonna humble brag here. I called this in my conversation with Vivek Ramaswamy when I said what's likely happening is these millennial women are getting promoted in these companies. They hold these views. Then they start adopting these things. It is not like some 56-year-old Gen Xer or whatever running the company said, this is what we got to do. It is a young millennial person taking these jobs. But of course, what everyone really came here for is this tweet from DC Drano. He says, on March 31st, Anheuser-Busch had a $132.38 billion market cap. As of today, it is now $128.4 billion. You know what that means? The woke Bud Light campaign has already shaved off nearly $4 billion in company value. Don't let Democrats lie to you. Conservative boycotts work. So a white pill moment, I suppose. Boycotts do work. Voting with your dollar does work. And this one is the easiest thing for people to do. Because everyone's always like, what can I do? I don't want to risk my family. I don't know how I can affect the electoral system. Who do I vote for? I can only vote every few years. This one's really easy. Don't buy Bush. Don't buy Anheuser products. Don't buy Budweiser. Don't buy Bud Light. And if this can be kept up.
That's the thing right there, right? So it's only worked if it can be kept up.
So it's got to be kept up, and it's got to be sustained to a certain degree where you need one thing to happen. Budweiser apologizes.
Yeah, that's it. And until the apology, don't buy Bud.
And
right. When they do apologize, I say buy a bunch.
Yeah.
What market forecasters and everybody needs to see is that when they did this campaign with Dylan Mulvaney, their stock drops, their sales drop, and then as soon as they apologized, goes right back up.
Yeah.
So I should go up even higher. If they apologize, I'll buy a ton of beer. I'm not going to drink it, but I'll buy it.
I think the other thing to think about is exactly what you said. What can you do? And it's not that you can give money to or cause you like what you can, but you can stop giving your money things. For example, you can stop giving your money to your alma mater. We have a project that we sponsored called Don't Donate, where we ask people the simplest ask in the world. Don't donate to your alma mater. It's not the same place. You're pushing woke ideology. You're literally giving it a kind of financial oxygen. Same thing with Bud Light. Don't buy it.
Any companies that you've been donating to or working with, check and see if they've been bought lately, because there's been a lot of corporate conglomeration in the last decade.
Right, like Anheuser-Busch merged with some...
InBev, yeah.
Yeah, and so now there's a bunch of other brands. Anheuser-Busch actually really, really big. Here's my favorite. Marjorie Taylor Greene tweeted out a picture of buying Coors, and then some leftist posted Coors' woke campaign as well.
Right.
But here's my thing. I don't care. I do not care if Bud Light makes a Pride can. That's not what I care about. What I care about is Dylan Mulvaney represents the algorithmic crisis that is causing teenage depression, that is expanding and creating wokeness, in my view, and then they reward it. Not only that, but TikTok, I believe, is likely a Trojan horse. The story goes that in China they get more controlled and academic content, and in the US it's all weird woke stuff and people who think they're frogs, frog self-pronouns and stuff like that. Very horrible ideas that are corrupting people's brains, and that Dylan Mulvaney is a perfect example of what those algorithms do. So when Bud Light dumps money into that, promotes it, they're actually making the algorithmic crisis substantially worse. So my thing is like, get away from it. Don't fund that stuff.
There's a lot of interesting things at play here because there's also the ESG score. There's also fifth generational warfare. We could go deep down the rabbit hole when it comes to explaining what's really going on here. But on a simple level, I think if we explain what just happened, it was a company trying to sell beer to, quote, what they deemed a younger audience, but mainly a part of just preaching to a woke religion that they were trying to serve here. And it's pretty clear that they kind of forgot about their customer base. And a lot of people are discussing, hey, what beer should I drink here? What's next beer? What's next beer I should move on? I think it's also important to note here that even woke people won't be buying Bud Light because it's like, you think we're that simple where you could just put some person on there and that's going to make me want to buy your fluoride-filled piss drink? No, thank you. I don't want that bull crap anywhere near me. It's an endocrine disruptor. And I think a lot of people, the discussion that I would love to have here, to have a deeper discussion, maybe instead of replacing your beer, maybe let's stay away from the moob creating endocrine disruptors that do, of course, have a very negative effect on you. And I think this is a perfect time to start that conversation, being like, hey, don't support this bull crap because it's bad for you.
I don't drink.
Yeah, and how evil do you have to be? Because the video of this VP came out, and she's talking about, we have to appeal to a younger audience. She has the rainbows behind her. What kind of evil person do you have to be to say, we're going to get young kids hooked on beer and alcohol? You are a low vibrational, bad human being when you're such a corporatist where you're like, we got to get all these people hooked on alcohol. But you're a bad person. I'm just sorry.
Young drinkers is how
young
she phrased it.
drinkers.
Yes.
That's horrible. Young drinkers, that's what she said. Peppered with woke language throughout.
And so here's the thing. They're targeting college kids. They're targeting people who are under the legal age to drink. Now, that being said, I think 18 should be the legal drinking age. I think it's ridiculous they raised it to 21 in the first place. And I actually think beer is actually pretty great. I don't drink it. The problem is abuse, not having some. I might have a beer once or twice a year, to be completely honest, depending on the situation, but it's not going to be Bud Light because Bud Light's just, it's like not really beer.
Yeah,
it's
Newcastle, if you're going to try
Something
it.
good.
There was even a new
Guinness.
medical study that came out showing that even moderate drinking has very negative cognitive effects for your brain and ages your brain and stops blood flow to your brain. The moop things is real. There's a reason Bill Gates has moops, okay? And it's not accidental. It's not a coincidence.
You're saying he drinks too much beer?
That and of course all the horrible pesticides and byproducts. There's also a lot of glyphosate in, of course, the beer as well. It's good to be back to get this off of my chest here. I feel awesome to finally be able to explain a lot of this stuff because at the end of the day here, it is a corporation trying to sell a product that does have a lot of negative consequences for people. That should be the discussion here, I think.
So let me ask you this question. I maybe we can all agree. I think everybody would be better off if they just drank water.
I agree.
Holler
There's a
back
whole water
at you,
debate.
son. I have some water right here.
Plastic water.
I'm on the road.
Come on.
You know that we actually do have glasses over there.
Sorry to interrupt.
I didn't find them, so I'm using a
Measuring
See,
cup.
that's why I like
cup.
you, Peter.
Hey, it holds water. It gets the job done.
It's good
No,
enough.
here's an important thing to consider too for this stuff. The reason why I really am energized, enervated by the story is Bud Light deserves to lose money, not just because we disagree with the ideological position of, say, TikTok, Dylan Mulvaney, or whatever. Bud Light deserves to lose money because this has to be one of the stupidest business decisions, irrespective of wokeness, in that you've got people from the ages of 21 to, on average, 79.3 years old. Your market share is 50 plus years, 57, 58 years. And what they've done is said, we've got to get rid of the frat culture and appeal to a younger audience. So they're targeting people from the ages of 21 to 25 in an effort to sell beer at the expense of 25 to 80.
And they've got to understand the amount of financial duress people are under that are from the age of 21 to 25. Young people, it's a constant theme on this show and others that people don't have money. They don't have direction. The school is too expensive. They're in debt.
Well, they do have money, but the money's being devalued. The money's being devalued.
But real quick, Ian, that actually makes them smart.
But they're targeting a segment of population that doesn't have money. That's the weird thing.
That's actually a good point. It's funny because they say when times are good, people drink. When times are bad, people drink
more.
And so maybe they're hoping maybe the real gambit here is these young people are depressed and listless. They're gonna get drunk.
Wow.
Do you think what better way to forget your sorrows? What better way to live in your pod and eat the bugs? And of course, if you remember during COVID, the alcohol industry skyrocketed. They were allowed to have liquor stores that were allowed to be open. Meanwhile, the mom and pop stores weren't allowed to be open as well. So a lot of people drank a lot. A lot of people who are depressed drink a lot, and it makes a lot of emotional issues, a lot of emotional problems that much worse for a lot of individuals. So when you're going after a key demographic that still has a part of their brain developing, and you're saying, let's put booze in there. Come on, let's call it out for what it is here. To me, a lot of this is just absolutely disingenuous. I don't care. I think there was just someone at Bud Light saying we just need to make money. Let's just make as much money as we can. We don't care how we're going to do it. And then they bring in the woke religion as a part to be subservient to that.
See, I was talking to Vivek Ramaswamy last week, and this is where the conversation was going. And I said I disagree. What I think we're seeing at these companies, they hire a 24-year-old woman 10 years ago. She's a marketing intern. 2 years later, she's full-time staff now. She's a marketing producer or something like that. It's now been a decade. Her boss, who's
VP.
56, goes, well, what's her name? Do you know her name, Luke?
Alyssa.
Alyssa.
So here's what I'm imagining. He goes, Alyssa, it's about time I retired. I'm about 60 some odd years old. Let's say he's 60. I said he's 50. Let's say he's in his 60s. And he's like, I think this is a job you can handle. And she's like, thank you so much. And then as soon as she walks outside, she goes, let's sponsor Dylan Mulvaney. And that's what happened. There are these people on the left that are saying they did all this market research. They know exactly what they're doing. I'm like, no, they don't.
Yeah.
The people who are woke, who are ideologically driven, are not thinking logically about numbers.
Yeah.
They're thinking, we are now wearing the institution like a skin suit. Let's advance our cause.
I'm automatically thinking of that Vice news skit where they were taking adult
Toy and throwing
toys
at the wall.
and throwing them at the wall randomly. That could be it too. You never know.
This woman
Sorry,
clearly
go
is woke, though. We saw this video where
She has
like,
pronouns in her bio. She's peppering her language. And I think that the key thing is what you said, Tim. It's that these people have intentionally trained themselves not to think. All of their information comes through a funnel to promote wokeness. But I guess what I was thinking about is, have you heard the expression, there's no such thing as bad press?
Yeah.
Yep.
This seems to belie that. There is bad press, and bad press can harm the...
But I think the phrase, there's no such thing as bad press, typically applies to an individual, right? I think someone like Ben Shapiro has actually greatly benefited from bad press. But to be fair, there's a double-edged sword that comes along with it, in that the bad press for an individual and for a commentator, they become more prominent. For someone like Ben Shapiro, or for any of us here, is that the more they talk about you, the more you become the subject and the figure to be talked about. If you are Anheuser-Busch, you are on top of the mountain. There's nowhere else to go. The only press they're going to get is going to be negative for their stock. So bad press, bad for your stock. Individuals, we don't have stock, so the more attention we get, the more we can capitalize on it. For Bud Light, I'll put it this way. They've got an opportunity when they bring politics into beer, which seems to make no sense in my opinion for the most part. But this opportunity is, can we capture a large portion of one demographic? Well, my attitude is, how about you don't do any of it and you try and just capture as much of the entirety of people who drink beer by being a neutral beer company. As soon as they enter the political fray, they segment off a large portion of their audience. If you are a political commentator or a celebrity, you're not going to get a market cap that is the entire population of the planet. Now imagine a company like Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola's market cap literally is every human on Earth, except for maybe like North Sentinel Island where they've never made contact with people or something like that. So they have no incentive whatsoever to be divisive. And bad press is bad if your market cap is everyone. Coke, Bud Light, whoever else, they want everyone on the planet drinking their product. Well, go to war with one half of them and you'll only lose customers. If you're a commentator and you're a celebrity, so who cares if 80% of the world hates you? 20% likes you and you'll make money off them. So bad all around for Bud Light.
You
Good
said
for us, I guess.
Something, Peter, I think you were alluding that they didn't seem to know what they were doing. Is that what you said earlier?
Yeah, what I think is happening is that these folks, and Alyssa has pronouns in her bio, and she peppers all of her language. And I would encourage people to watch those videos where she's explaining why she did this. They're not capable of independent, rational thought. They view themselves as white knights who promote the ideology. This is a way to promote her moral values. And within that, then she convinces herself that, well, we'll increase market share, we'll increase sales, but it's just not true.
I think it's the word inclusivity. Do we have that video of Alyssa explaining
that
it?
video is wonderful.
It's so great.
Yeah.
I don't know
It's well
why she
worth
made
watching.
it. It's incredible that she incriminated herself like that, but I guess everyone knew who she was on the team anyway. And the way she says, we're looking to do, I think it's the word inclusivity, something, and an inclusive, something. And you're like, why'd she use the word inclusivity twice? She doesn't know what it means. That's why.
Well, that video that you mentioned was from March 30th, and ever since, I haven't seen much kind of, any kind of words from Bud Light afterwards after this.
Oh, that's from... Okay,
so that's from an earlier video where she was explaining what she was doing.
And I want to underscore something Tim said, that if you really want to show that you can change and make a difference, it has to be sustainable. Like, you have to literally continue to not buy the product until they apologize. And if you don't do that, then you're actually working against your interest, because companies are going to keep doing this.
I'll be honest, I don't think an apology is enough. For me, they'll just issue some crap that they don't believe and then try and...
The apology is everything. Yeah. The apology is everything.
I feel like making them go bankrupt
because it's
is
a
everything.
signal. It's a costly signal.
It means they will, if they issue an apology, that means Anheuser-Busch said the risk to our business from the far left cult is less than the risk to our business from pissing off.
I see. So you're not
people.
trying, that's a good point. You're not trying to destroy the company. You're trying to change the direction the company takes.
Yes.
And we're not going to be held hostage to woke maniacs. We're just not going to be held hostage to these people.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.